You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
You are about to see a short preview of the film that has been breaking box office records across the country. It is about a girl who went all the way. It may very well be the most important film you will ever see. It will be presented as a special roadshow attraction. Only a select audience will be admitted.
News Bulletin, Petaluma, California, Associated Press. Children in the Petaluma School District were asked to bring in orange juice for all the girls between the ages of 12 and 14 who are pregnant. Parents are also asked to help out.
It happens 250,000 times a year. Where is your daughter tonight? This is the story of a girl who wasn't careful.
Teenage mother means 9 months of trouble.
This is 15-year-old Arlene Sue.
I know how to make all the boys hot.
You can't keep your hands off Arlene Sue. She was a real tease. At 15, she knew about everything.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, a strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Walter on iWalter on Saturday, the 12th of 2015. Welcome to, as Matt would like me to say, which has been working, welcome to me. I was going to actually try to do an interview with this guy, Dave, a friend of ours from college, but you know what? I came home tonight, she told me, oh, you know what? On Saturday, so I looked it up, they're going to be showing Raiders of the Lost Ark at 8 p.m. in Oaks. So, me being the good son, no puns intended, I decided to buy tickets for my parents and myself. But that's tomorrow night at 8, so that's kind of disruptive. Dave could actually possibly do an interview. So I'm going to do one with him soon. I got a lot of things I guess I can definitely talk about tonight. Once again, it is the weekend, unfortunately, though. Our washer at home broke, too, so I'm going to have to go to a laundromat this weekend. So it's not a fun weekend. Next weekend, a week, it's going to be short because I'm going to a Doctor Who, one of the TV shows being shown on the big screen. So I definitely wanted to check that out, so I used some of my vacation time to do that. By the way, if anybody's interested, I brought, if I had time tonight, to at least watch part of, not all of, Star Wars, the original movie, because I could throw it in my laptop, watch a few minutes of the original theatrical one. Here I left at home in my Blu-ray player, so I was looking at these old movies, because it was the one I rented one for $3. It was this movie called, you know what? I can't even remember. It was in my mailbox, though, because they sent me the receipt for the film, and I thought I had it up. Oh, okay, here it is. It's this atomic submarine, and they said it was it was kind of funny. My friend Matt would find this funny. The name of the submarine was called the Tiger Shark submarine, because we make this joke. I get him laughing every time. There was a thing in Jaws where they thought they caught the right shark, and Richard Dreyfuss says, no, you caught a tiger shark. And this one guy who thought they got the right shark says, a what? They go, yeah, this looks like a macaw. It looks like, what is those vicious sharks? Some other type of shark. And he says, no, you actually caught a tiger shark, which they are vicious sharks. So, and the guy, he's dumbfounded. He goes, a what? So anyway, it's an ongoing joke with me and Matt. I thought it was entertaining when I first heard it, and yeah, he laughs at it too, which is good. Anyway, that movie, Bo, it was like, it got under the Criterion Collection. I was like, okay, I thought only like classic real films get under there. This is going to lead somewhere, trust me. But yeah, the Criterion is supposed to be like upscale movies, I thought, but generally they're just putting anything on there. Probably my homemade film someday or end up on the Criterion Collection. That's how far down it's gone. So I'm being sarcastic quite a bit on that one, but not too far from the truth. So anyway, this movie called the Atomic Submarine. Yeah, the name of they said it. I was curious. It was like, hey, you had me convinced. I thought it might have been a real sub from the U.S. Navy, and it's not. It was just made for this movie. But actually, some of the premise of that film, maybe this is why it actually became part of the Criterion Collection, is because some of those ideas I've seen in other TV shows and stuff, like, it kind of reminded me of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea a little bit. Like, because they did have something that was supposed to be a diving bell, but it was actually a flying sub. And, the fact that they could explore with the submarine and find alien life, it was like, yeah, okay, I kind of see where this film probably influenced other people at some point in time. So, again, it's a B-horror movie, but at the same time, it obviously, if it got in the Criterion Collection, it had to be for some reason, and I'm assuming that's what it is. In fact, what year did that come out? I'm like actually made myself curious about that. I don't know if I mentioned, by the way, before I go, any further along, I did have it up. Oh, yeah, that little snippet was like 5 minutes long. We would have played for a trailer. It was a 5-minute fucking trailer. I was like, no way I'm going to play that, because I'm going to play a soundbite from Rush that I thought was pretty interesting because I didn't give enough, I didn't acknowledge enough that yesterday was, September 11th. We lost a lot of people, when those trade centers came down, and it was a lot of chaos. But thank God we had a good president in office, and Bush had taken care of it. I'm saying that because I looked on Rush's stuff that he had posted, and he apparently, or some college, that these idiot younger generation thinks that that whole 9/11 was Bush's fault. No, actually, Bush did something about it when it did happen. And he did it the next freaking day. So people just have no clue. It's 14 years ago now, too. Anyway, that trailer in the beginning I played a little bit of. It was from a movie from 1967, ironically, the same year I was born. Teenage Mother is the name of the film, just in case you were interested. That kind of was like an exploitation film, obviously, but a little bit I let you listen to. Yeah, it was funny. Not what I'm going to play, but it says college students blame Bush for 9/11. That was yesterday. And Rush basically states, this is something that you think everybody in America would know. It took decades for people to not know what Pearl Harbor meant. Here, 14 years later, 9/11, and this is what you young Americans found on campus in George Madison University, and it goes into that. The part I want to play of Rush, though, I did cut it back because he did spend a good hour of his show just talking about this ridiculous issue. So I'm going to play that then. It's about the truth. I'll read what he wrote and then I'll play his thing. The truth about the Middle East refugees. Welfarenist, here they come. Maybe this isn't the one, but I was actually going to mention that really just, I'm glad he said this. Trust me, I'm really glad he said this. Rush did, but it's just ridiculous what is going on. Now, like, we okayed it. The U.S. okayed it. Obama and well, I'll play that part. now okayed for the Middle East, like, where was it? The terrorists in the Middle East, basically, is it Iran or Iraq? I'll play it apart and then I'll be able to figure it out myself. To make nuclear or have nuclear arms. I mean, you're like giving your enemies the weapons to destroy our country and other countries. You know, this free world and other countries that are trying to, you know, become like us almost. Anyway, the one I just started reading is The Truth About the Middle East Refugees. And I remember him telling me about this. I'm going to read a little bit of that, but I really just want to play that segment that I put aside of Rush's. Rush headline news: ISIS threatens to send 500,000 migrants to Europe as a psychological weapon. This is 7 months ago, and it's happening. Now we're being led to believe it's because of a war-torn strife or thirst, hunger, civil war in Syria. And then he puts, no, it is a plan. We all understand this, and that's why all of this is inexplicably, when we look at the people who ought to be alarmed at this, they ought to be opposed to it. They ought to be afraid of it, embracing it, and it doesn't make any sense. So, since I actually started on that one, because it's not exactly what I wanted to play from Rush's show today, that's another issue, too, because, like, Germany... Now, my friend Matt, he mentioned this before, that we have this problem in our country, that the U.S., we actually are... Our birth rate in the U.S. is low. It's at an all-time low. Like, the U.S. birth rate is an all-time low. Going into what I just had mentioned, though, unfortunately, Germany's birth rate has tremendously dropped, too. Now, they're afraid of, you know, I guess, my assumption is, I guess they're afraid of falling into that poverty-stricken thing that caused... you know, this commotion, or that would happen, which turned into World War II, where you had that, you had Hitler take over to help recover the economy that was suffering in Germany. So, unfortunately, it looks like almost, you know, in a different direction, that history is going to repeat itself, at least with that country, not with another Hitler. But they're allowing all these illegals these immigrants. I'm not going to say illegals. They're allowing these immigrants from these other countries, like these terrorist countries, to come into their nation of Germany because of the low birth rate. And they're thinking this is going to repopulate our low birth rate, and it's going to help increase, of what I understood from Rush today. It's going to help bring more money into our economy, because we're going to have more people that way. We're allowing more people to come in our country, even though these are migrants from other countries. You really don't want them to come from other countries. You don't want these people, but they're allowing them to come in because of the low birth rate. And again, if this makes any sense, because I apologize if I don't, they're thinking this is going to kind of help, bring up their economy, their suffering economy, Germany's. But you're letting in, basically, you're going to be letting in terrorists probably as well. You're letting in these migrants already. Ones, again, that are not going to help stimulate your economy. It's going to make it even worse, if anything. So, I'm going to try to look for that segment that I got of Rush. I think I did set it up. And I'm going to try to lead into that one. Basically, Rush was talking about today was what I just had mentioned beforehand. And this is what I think people need to hear. This is right after the same day of 9/11 that the U.S. okayed for basically the Middle East, the terrorist part of the Middle East, like ISIS, to basically, he didn't say ISIS, but I'm saying that, to allow them to have weapons now. It's like putting a gun to your head, a loaded gun to your head almost. I mean, that's how stupid it is. So I'm going to play that now, and I'm going to take a short millisecond break as I put this in right now. Here we go.
Well, okay, despite the best efforts of who knows how many people, the inexplicable has happened. On the day before the 14th anniversary of 9/11, the United States Senate sustained the Iranian nuclear deal, freeing Barack Hussein Obama to lift sanctions on the Iranian regime, which will, for the most part, immediately provide them with between $100 and $150 billion. It can now be said that the United States Senate, and we would not be inaccurate to emphasize Senate Democrats, although the Republicans are as complicit. This is just, it's inexplicable. The whole thing is inexplicable. There is so much that doesn't make any sense anymore.
All right. Hey, I am back. I just wanted to play that basically because it is really scary. What is happening in this time in our world, not even just our country, in our world in general. I mean, it's falling apart. Our country definitely is. And obviously what I just played from Rush. Now, there was a good amount of information he had for that first hour of the show today. But I made this mistake before. I think I'm trying to take some cues off of Matt. Like, yeah, you got to be careful. You don't want to play too much of somebody else's show. I mean, we're both on the same page, me and Rush, but I can't really do that. So I try to pinpoint something. It was all very informative of his show today. Everything was very important, but I just couldn't pick one spot, and I had to try to. Yeah, I do have a lot of articles now. Today, I'll tell you, I played my show to a guy at work, some guy I really like, and he basically, and another guy heard one, which I always appreciate those compliments. I've heard that a couple times. They say, yeah, you sound very professional, like you sound like a real professional person, even though I really do mess up a majority of what I read. I guess my voice is probably the correct pitch to do this, which is kind of impressive. I appreciate that. He just told me, I guess I might have hit a nerve because he said, you got to watch what you say. You should probably even change the name of my show. Well, that's just me. I am very honest about everything. I'm not going to, lie about what is happening with me at work. He suggested I should at least change my name because of a higher up here's what I'm saying. That could very well lead into, they won't just, because he realized I'm just talking about a very, very select few of people. But they don't look at it that way. They're going to pull more than just a select few. They're going to look at everyone until they find that select few. Now, my thing of argument is, though, well, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about. So, not with him, because I trust this guy, but with other people, if they're afraid of what I'm saying, obviously I must be saying the right stuff. But the wrong people are hearing it, if that makes any sense. So, unfortunately, though, you can't get me to lie, and I'm not going to try to cover up. Now, he asked me particular people I might have been referring to, and I told him I'm sorry, I can't mention that because that would definitely get me in a lot of trouble. There was another guy that walked in and he says, it sounds like you're talking about the place that we were working. I said, I tried to, honestly, if I ever did mention where I had worked in the past, it definitely wasn't on purpose. It was definitely accidental. And honestly, you really technically I cannot mention where I work. I'm not saying it's not prohibited, but it could get me in a lot of trouble. So, But one thing he did bring to my attention, though, he thought he knew what who I was talking about when I was talking about this one girl who basically, I think he kind of proved my point, though, as well, where I mentioned that this girl thinks that it's actually a woman, but she thinks I'm stalking her. And he just proved it today. She proved it, too, because obviously I'm sure somebody from where I work must listen to this show. At least one, maybe 2 or 3 people listen to the show where I work. Somehow they must listen to it, and it probably gets back to her because we have these meetings at the beginning and the end of each shift, and they're mandatory, but she did not show up today at all. In fact, she was hiding into the moment she had walked out the door. So one thing that's very immature. That's just to let her know if this gets back to her. Whoever listens to the show for her, if this particular girl, which I never mentioned her name, is listening, you need to kind of grow up. You're acting very immature. And this woman is a single mother. She should know better, but honestly, the more I see it, I see more single moms that are extremely, excuse me, I got to get something to drink, extremely immature. And it's unfortunate because these children that these offspring that these women are having, it's just going to lead to even more of this kind of chaos. So I apologize. I didn't mean to cough like that. But yeah, she really needs to grow up. But if it is the same person, the person I was talking to today, again, I am not going to mention even the person I had spoken to because these people, it's just to protect myself and also to protect, me, you know who I am, but to protect their identity. There is no reason you need to know these people on a need, not even a need to know basis. You just don't need to know them. Now, I've mentioned in the past certain people, probably higher up people's names, but a name is just hearsay. But, I've decided from hearing from different people, I'm not going to mention their names at all. So it's going to be as indirect as possible and as vague as possible. I've been asked before, who are you talking about? It's like, unless I know you very, like my friend Matt or Todd, and they ask me, I will tell them. But anybody else, they don't need to know because it's important for their safety and my own. Just letting you know. Anyway, he had told me, this guy I had spoken to today, he said, I think I know who you're talking about because this same girl, if it's the same one, had went to our HR department and had said that, there's this one guy, he makes me feel uncomfortable. And I said to this guy that I was talking to today, I said, so did this guy get fired because of it? And he basically told me right out, he says, well, it was this guy's word against a woman's. And at that point, that's when I asked him, so did he get fired? And he said, yeah, he got fired for it. So, you talk about stuff, that's an issue that I really take seriously, that people in this day and age, you got to deal with, if you're a male, you're the lowest person, you're below pond scum. So even if she made that up, which would be, which would cost money, and you have other people, if there are other women, I'm sorry, but they will stick up for, a particular woman, and even guys, because guys, again, as my one friend puts it, my friend Todd, a lot of men think with their small heads and not their big ones. And that is a big issue. So if you're a man and you're being accused by a woman who cries rape, you're basically screwed. You're really screwed. And this is one case that disproves it. So by hearing what this guy told me today, that this guy got fired, I'm just going to open my mouth even more because of, my father always used to tell me, I told this friend tonight on a voicemail, my dad always used to tell me growing up, the baron that squeaks the loudest gets the most oil. So basically meaning that if you don't speak up, nothing's going to change. If you speak up, things will change, and for me, honestly, I need to speak up, because if I do not, it's going to be her word against mine. But if they hear me telling the story I'm telling now, even on a podcast that's consistent, most likely if she's lying, because this does happen to people that lie, her story is going to be very non-consistent. So even though she's got the upper hand because she's a female, she's a woman, she's not going to have the upper hand on me if she's lying, because it's going to be noted that her story is non-consistent. This has happened to me in the past. So my only protection is telling the truth. There's that old saying, and sometimes that's true, the truth will set you free. So I'm going to go by that analogy. So I'm not going to be the one getting fired if somebody else is, being, using the verbal term of slander, which is liable, or is, getting this documented saying that I am literally stalking this woman, which I am not, and that would be slander. So before it even gets that far, I'm going to make sure she has no solid ground to stand on with me. So that I'm going to continue to talk about this issue. So when that day and age comes or whatever, she's going to have nothing to hold up her side of the story, which is going to be basically exactly that. It's going to be a fictional story trying to incriminate me. So, and that's not going to happen if as far as I can help it. So anyway, my friend Todd sent me this story, and this is ridiculous. I mean, that was another thing. Well, let me read this one. This was on Uproxx Web Culture, so thank you again, Todd. And it's this white, hideous girl with her black boyfriend who looks, I'm not even kidding, the man looks like a homeless man, like somebody you would see if you're down Philadelphia around here. It looks like those guys who will clean your windows for $1 that are sleeping underneath this the bridge. The guy looks just like that. So the story is titled, "This Woman Will Tell You Why She Had Parking Lot Sex with an Unconscious Man." Well, you find out that the unconscious man was her boyfriend. The guy looks like, again, some homeless black guy. And they were both stone drunk, and she's blaming, that's funny because that was actually the name of a song, I think it was a cover song on Glee, blaming on the alcohol. Well, she was claiming that she was so drunk that she couldn't help herself and that she had to have sex with her boyfriend, who was this homeless-looking black guy. So, it's the story is, and it's got a video. It has her talking. She looks like she's some type of drug addict. I'm sorry. So she's blaming the alcohol, and this supposed boyfriend was passed out, like stone drunk, passed out. So she just decided to have sex with him. Now, here's the funny thing. It was in the middle of a fucking street, though. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, it says this incident took place in Norfolk, Virginia. A camera caught the woman on top of a man who appeared to be unconscious. He was actually her boyfriend, who later regained awareness and said everything was fine because he simply passed out after getting drunk. The couple threw their arms up at each other in a fine show of solidarity for the local news. In addition, the woman spoke of her own, on her own, for the camera crew. Maybe the man wasn't awake at that point. But seriously, it was in the middle of a fucking street. Come on. I mean, it just shows you what kind of garbage we have in this country anymore. I don't know how else to put it, and it really is. Yeah, it was funny tonight. What got me started on just really not being in a very good mood. I try to avoid, I don't go out. I honestly do not go out. I sleep, I sit at home, I go to work, I mind my own business. Really, I do. Even though people try to act like I don't and try to make me out to something I'm not, I really don't bother with absolutely anyone except maybe 2 people in my family. And that is the God's honest truth. Strike me down if I'm lying. And yet I am the biggest culprit. I am the person who creates problems in everybody's lives. So I mind my own business. Now anymore, you got these people with high beams on all the time, which that should be my follow-up story. I gotta read this one too. Here it is from Norristown Times Herald. So on the way home, it's like I try to avoid people at all possible costs, and I really try to avoid people who just have an unpleasant outlook, period, and work in retail. So I went last night to the Wawa in Trooper here, and this girl's just got a puss on her face all the time. A young girl. She works 3rd shift at Wawa. And it was like, I just went in there to get something to eat. I'm not trying to make friends. I'm not trying to make small talk. I just want to get in and get the fuck out. This girl just ruined my fucking night last night. I was like, you know what? I'm not going back to that one. I'll go out of my way. I'll go to this one in Lansdale and go to that one. And it was filled with young kids all over the place. So that curfew thing is already out the window. No fucking kid. And these were all underage people. Follows the curfew even for the weekends, which is at 1 o'clock, I think, they're supposed to be in the house. Not driving around endlessly making fools of themselves. And this is in front of a Wawa in Lansdale, right across from North Penn. So anyway, that being said, it was just like, okay, I cannot win. I cannot win at all. And this was like at 1:45 almost. So, because I left work and then I was just kind of driving around. And anyway, I'm like at the deli counter. I got the same thing I got at the other Wawa, which was just tuna fish and lettuce. That's it. No bread, because the bread's the worst part for you. And this girl, this big fat Italian girl with her lesbian friend or whatever it was, she acts like I'm in her way when I'm at the counter waiting for my food, and was like, gave me a real obnoxious, excuse me, and I was like, you know what the fuck is your problem? You know, if you look at yourself in the mirror, I am not the issue, you are the issue. And it's like, this is why I really don't like going out, not even acknowledging anybody anymore, because they're all fucking nuts. And they're also self-preoccupied. It just makes me really not, like, just become a hermit. Literally become a hermit. Anyway, there was this article. I will try to read it the best I can. It was on the Times Herald. It was yesterday. Actually, it was the day before yesterday. And it says, cops, party yields multiple citations in Conchi. Now, my one friend, Matt, I'm not trying to pick on you, but you seem to think that underage drinking and people being out past curfew does not happen a lot. But it does, because this article, I think, I'm not going to say it until I read far enough into it, could be one of these cases which just makes what I'm saying absolutely true. It says, in Conchi, police served several citations for underage drinking, public lewdness, and other offenses after responding to a complaint of a loud party on the 400 block of Hector Street shortly after midnight, September 5th. So it's the 12th. Let me see when the 5th was. Okay. That was last Saturday. The curfew time is midnight, but they were having a party at midnight. And it was underage drinking. So there you go. You got two things. And these people, they weren't at their own house. So if they're at that party, they're going to be there most of the night. And they're probably not going to spend. So what's that mean? Probably I was right that these people are out after the curfew that was put into place. So there you go. When officers arrived, people reportedly ran from the residence, which police said was rented to college students. Police talked to two of the residents and determined that they were underage and intoxicated. While police were speaking to them, a water balloon reportedly landed on the parked car in between them, and it said the police cited two renters along with another partygoer who emerged from an from an alley, and two attendees who admitted to climbing on the roof of the building to avoid authorities. So these are all underage drinkers, by the way, just to say the least. So there is a lot of underage soliciting and other things going on. I'm trying to kind of read into this for the fines and stuff. And by the way, it says one is a 15-year-old suspect was seen, no offense, Matt, but a 15-year-old suspect was seen driving a vehicle and was apprehended after getting out and trying to flee on foot. Now, this was after midnight. A 15-year-old, you're not even old enough to drive, but you're actually intoxicated. This was one of the people they apprehended from this thing. So, I don't know. Actually, this might have been a different one, but still, the key point is, though, I apologize, this was for a different one, because they have them all combined, but the point is, yes, it was an underage driver, and it's a whole thing about the times people, that underage kids aren't doing a lot of this mischief, but they are. And it's always at these, hours of curfew, by the way. If you want to read the stories, if you think I'm not saying anything correctly, please feel free to correct me and look on the Times Herald police log. But that one I was talking about with this party anyway. It says about an hour later, a Villanova student was stopped after police noticed him stumbling down the same street as this party was. Police reported the 19-year-old male initially lied to authorities and told them he was 21. And it gets better. He was caught with basically a marijuana pipe found in his pocket, and 5 beers in a resealable plastic bag containing more marijuana, which was found in his backpack. So, yeah, one guy at work, the guy I was talking to, some of the stories that he heard me talking about on my show from yesterday, he said, "Are these stories for real?" And he was referring to the story about that woman who was crushing and severing heads off of dogs or puppies and stuff. And I said, yes, I read these stories because these are stories I really do dig up, and these are real-to-life stories, by the way. The one I kind of screwed up on was on September 2nd. It was West Norton, and that's basically Norristown, where it said this kid that was 15 who was driving a car at 15 basically says, I guess, broke into somebody's house and stole $425 out of somebody's wallet. And he got apprehended after trying to drive away in a car, and they caught him on foot. Now, here's some other police stuff, and this is no joke. This is on September 2nd. Police and paramedics were called into McDonald's on 223 West Main Street at 2:21 p.m. September 2nd. I know that's in the afternoon. For a report, a female was unresponsive in the woman's bathroom. Upon arrival, police encountered the woman unconscious in the stall, was in a hypnotic with a hypodermic needle. I apologize. She had a hypodermic needle and other paraphernalia present. The paramedics administered Narcan to the woman and inserted a nasal tube to help her breathe. It said the woman regained consciousness in the ambulance and reportedly admitted to be using heroin in the restroom. She was released on a summons on. She was released to be summoned on a charge of possession of drug paraphernalia and public intoxication. Wanted man with crack. So, I mean, these stories are just ridiculous, and they're all drug-related, and they're all either underage or just people. Obviously, if you're doing this much drugs and stuff, they're probably not even working. Another story, there was like 2 more stories just on this, underneath this main article, by the way. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other stories, and I'm not going to botch them all up. I'm going to see if I already read this one. Okay, 7:45 p.m., September 2nd, police on patrol at 1200 block of West Washington Street encountered a man with a warrant for his arrest sitting on the steps of a residence. Police apprehended the suspect and found him in possession of 14 packets of substance that field tested positive for crack cocaine. So that's what that story about the man wanted for crack. The alleged crack pipe was also found on the suspect. The suspect was transported to the police station, processed, and released to be summoned. So there we go again. Then in the next story, because now I realize how I have to read these. Teens vandalize stolen SUV. In Norristown again, police were dispatched to the 600 block of Willow Street at 2:43 a.m. And let me read this again so Matt can hear this. Teens vandalize stolen SUV. Yes, all these stories, they don't have to be, but they are all in Norristown. Police were dispatched, 1600 block Willow Street. Now, Matt, get this. 2:43 a.m. on September 2nd. That's past curfew time. For a report that several teens were vandalizing an SUV. Upon arrival, respondent officers discovered a 2000 Dodge Durango with a smashed windshield. The residents who called police said the loud noise in the area prompted him to look out his window where they saw 4 teenage boys kicking in the windshield. Now, I understand Matt are telling me what I was talking about, which he's absolutely true. I will correct myself, are about drivers. But it doesn't matter. These kids should not be out on the streets, period. The caller said he yelled at the teens and they ran off. A check of the vehicle's registration revealed that the freaking SUV was actually stolen to begin with. Okay, the next one is, this should be, I think this is going to give a couple people, like, hopefully raise their eyebrows. Social security cards among items stolen from vehicle. This is a different story. Norristown on October 31st at 5:30 p.m. Why would you leave your Social Security in your car? I never do that. Police responded to a 200 block of Stroudsburg. Oh, no, it's Stainbridge Street. I'm sorry. It's Stainbridge Street for a report of a theft from a vehicle. The victim told police her car stereo, worth approximately $200, was stolen, along with a set of work keys and several job applications and Social Security cards belonging to clients. The victim said she locked the vehicle, but there were no signs of forced entry. Again, I don't care if they're not yours. Why would you leave those in the car, even if it's locked? I'm sorry. I just don't understand that. And it sounds a little bit fishy. Here's another story. This is Phoenixville, which is not far at all from where I live. Phoenixville man pleads guilty to fatal Bridgeport hit and run. And it's a young, looks like Hispanic kid. Courthouse, Phoenixville man who fatally crashed his mother's car into a pedestrian in Bridgeport in December before fleeing the scene, pleaded guilty on Monday. Christian Fontes, 19, of 2900 block of Doris Court, pleaded guilty to all charges against him, which included accidents involving death or personal injury, tampering with evidence, failure to give information and render aid, failure to report an accident to police, and failure to yield to a pedestrian in a crosswalk. Fuentes, whatever, faces a mandatory minimum sentence of 3 years in prison. To me, that's just a slap on a wrist if he actually killed somebody, too. It was a hit and run. He killed somebody, but he's only going to get 3 years. Oh, well. So there you go. I apologize. I really screwed up that last name. And it's like an ongoing issue story, so to speak, of the nurses union to rally in front of the Eagleville Hospital. I am not going to read this one because I mentioned about it before. You're talking about a mental state hospital, and these people are more worried about themselves and about establishing a union than the people that they're supposed to be taking care of. So, you know what? There's another story of somebody else striking somebody with a homicide by vehicle, and it's a different one. It says East Norton man struck and killed by vehicle in Plymouth. That was actually on the 8th of this month. Plymouth, a pedestrian was killed after being struck by a vehicle in the area of Germantown Pike in Mulberry Lane Sunday evening. According to the press release issued by Plymouth Township Police Department, officers responded to the scene at approximately 8:36 p.m. and found a 21-year-old Taylor Ryan of East Norton lying in the roadway unconscious and unresponsive. Ryan was struck by a vehicle traveling west on Germantown Pike. The release stated, Plymouth ambulance personnel arrived and attempted to resuscitate Ryan, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. No further information has been released on the investigation by the detective division. Is ongoing at this point, basically. So there you go. There was 2 hit and runs, different times, by younger people. Vandalism, all by younger people. So there you go. We have total chaos in Norristown, but everybody just kind of looks the other way. I mean, we're pretty close to, I might have mentioned this before, but this is really true. We are so close to being like that movie Escape from New York at this point. Pretty soon they're just going to put, around. They're going to put a fence around Norristown, and we're all going to be locked in that we can't escape because it'll be one big freaking institutionalized prison of some sort, I'm sure. With all the morons, I'll be stuck with them for, forever. I hope not. Oh, great, I just lost my story. Something with Doctor Who wanting to do an episode with David Bowie. It was in the Radio Times. I bookmarked it. It looked kind of interesting. It said Peter Capaldi is stated by saying, I want David Bowie as Doctor Who guest star. It says the actor also revealed that he was very particular about which guitar the Doctor would play in Series 9. So, Matt, if you're listening, you should like this. Over the years, the Doctor Who has had many high-profile guest stars, some whom have been musicians, including Catherine Jenkins and Foxes in recent years. Foxes. Catherine Jenkins and Foxes in recent years. I'm not familiar with that. But there was one musical grandee who Peter Capaldi thinks has been missing out. Quote, I think it should be David Bowie. The actor told the crowd at a screening for episode 1 and 2 of the upcoming series, and he's quoted again, I think he would be a very good one. Okay, it sounds a little crazy, but now we thought about it, and it's almost too perfect. Who better explore space and time with the Doctor than Ziggy Stardust, the composer of Space Odyssey, a man who once released an album that could almost be a Doctor Who episode premise in itself. The Rise and the Fall of Ziggy Stardust and The Spider from Mars. And starred as an alien in the sci-fi movie classic, The Man Who Fell to Earth. They were all David Bowie movies. If someone's not really pitching that to Stephen Moffat for Series 10, we will. The person who wrote this article. By the way, Stephen Moffat actually did say he enjoys rather watching the old Doctor Who's. It's like, well, why don't you make them seem more like the old ones? Why do you make these crappy ones then? Still, if David Bowie did appear on the series, he might be a bit of a rivalry on the music front. He might be a rivalry on the music front from Doctor Who, the Doctor himself. In the Series 9 trailer, the Doc rocks a cool guitar, which former rocker Peter Capaldi plays himself. So he must have been a band. I did not know that. And the actor spoke of his joy finally putting his music talents to use. So apparently in the new series, he actually does play a guitar. It's actually a guitar. It's not a bass, because I'm trying to look at the name, but that's why I keep on reading and messing up. I'm going to see if I can find out what he's playing. Okay, I'm just going to go through this. It's just that Capaldi also revealed that just as when he handpicked the 12th Doctor's costume, he also says in which acts which he'd been welding for Series 9. Could the Vine video for June have been part of the research? We wonder. You're still not mentioning the name of the guitar, so I apologize. Oh. Thought it would be like a coaster. It says that, quote, we ended up with a guitar that looks like a Fender Stratocaster. Matt, you're going to have to help me with that one because I don't know anything about guitars. That had been described to someone who had never seen one. But it is it looks like a Fender or Fender, right? Isn't it the name Fender? And he says he added that joke is hilarious if you're into guitars. So yeah, it was some type of guitar. It looked like a Fender Stratocaster or something. Again, I'm not really familiar with this stuff. So Matt, you're the aficionado when it comes to music and guitars. But they have him playing it like a little loop-de-loop thing of him playing the guitar. So if Matt's seen it, if he could actually see this, he would be able to say, oh yeah, that's what kind of guitar it was. So I'm just going to pretend I didn't read that so I can go on to the next one, kind of hide it. Did I read this already? I'm not sure. So if I did, I apologize or mentioned it, but it was on the Daily Mail, and it says ISIS threatens to send 500,000 migrants to Europe as a psychological weapon in chilling echo of Gaddafi's prophecy that the Mediterranean will become the Sea of Chaos. Italian press today published claims that ISIS has threatened to release the huge wave of migrants to cause chaos in Europe if they are attacked. And letters from jihadists show plans to hide terrorists among the refugees. I think I did mention that, though, in so many words or less. In 2011, Mahir Gaddafi anonymously predicted war would come to Libya. He was disposed in a violent coup and killed in October of the same year. It says the Islamic State executed 21 Egyptian Christians on Libyan beach this week. And it says crisis in Libya has led to a surge in the number of migrants heading for Europe. So I don't know what to say. Unfortunately, we just got an overwhelming amount of stupidity in this country alone and obviously in Europe. And unfortunately, there is no hope for it to get any better. It just continues to be like this, avalanche of just bad news and just bad decisions and just really, really stupid people. It's talking about stupid people. There was this one article which I thought I had up. And it's with this young kid, this girl, who doesn't understand that England is not, she thinks it's a foreign language that the English people speak in the UK. I wish I was kidding about that, but I looked at this and it was so annoying. Listen to this girl. She actually has a blog page on Facebook. And it's moldy, mighty, meaty memes that melt in your mother's musty minges video. But she has a link for her page. I'm going to look at that now. And yeah, that's the name of her thing. Her blog page on Facebook, or whatever you want to call it, is called Moldy, Mighty, Meaties Memes That Melt in Your Mother's Musty Minge Community. And it's all about this young girl. I don't know. She's probably like 12 years old. But she was going off how she met was talking to somebody. She was trying to convince this kid from England, I guess, this young kid from England, to buy her some type of game, almost like War of Worldcraft or something like that. One of those role-playing games. And the kid said, well, I can't afford it. This kid from England, he said it costs £15. So I wish I was kidding, because it was so. This girl is so dumb that it actually it really gave me a headache. She actually had the nerve to say that, oh, well, I don't know. I didn't realize that England, the people don't speak English. And it was like, I told her friend, I left the voicemail. English, the people from England actually speak proper English. We are the ones technically with the accent. So, yes, their dialect is different, but they are what we are descendants from. Our language comes from the English UK people. She does not know this, and I'm not even kidding. She goes on to say that not only does she couldn't understand the guy, which I understand with the dialect, she also said when he said, oh, the game's going to cost £15, she thought that she doesn't understand why they have to weigh everything to buy stuff. And I'm not even kidding. She was being really serious. So her assumption is, yeah, I don't understand how they have to weigh their stuff is being paid through by being weighed. And then she was saying something really stupid on something on the lines of, oh yeah, they pay from stuff from like rock or something from Jupiter or something like that. Like, this girl is like not only just a young nutcase, but she really thinks that England is a different country where they don't speak English. And she believed, this girl who has this stupid page, that everything is paid by weighing it. So everything is, you have to basically it's almost like barter in her mind, that things are bartered to, like pounds is not a, what do you call it? A money system. It is actually something else. And I think I knew that at the age of 12. I knew that their currency was called the British gold pounds, British gold pound. I knew that from like the age of 12, maybe even younger, probably younger than she is, this girl on this blog page. But she has no clue. So somebody wrote underneath, don't make fun of her. She speaks fluent American. They were being sarcastic, by the way. Because this girl was so stupid not to realize what a British money was. So, but anyway, I just had to mention that because you talk about, once again, stupid people, and this is going to be our future. Because somebody actually wrote that about her. I thought I saw it somewhere, like this is literally going to be our future. Is this girl here? And this was like 4 hours ago, it says, that this was posted. I'm going to see if I can find that now, but the comment that actually did mention it. I honestly, maybe she's trying to be funny. I hope she's trying to be funny, because otherwise, this girl is a total moron. And you know what? I don't care how cute the kid is. She is a total moron if she really believes that. Whatever. I just can't believe what I have to. What do you call it? What is going to be taking care of me when I get when I become old? There are going to be these kids that don't even know how the money currencies in other countries. I mean, I don't exactly know what the currency rate is, but I do know, like, if you told me what a franc is, I would probably be able to tell you that it's German currency. I could tell you the British gold pound. I can tell you that a peso is, some type of, what is it, Spanish or something? But this girl doesn't. She thinks a pound is actually a weight system. A British pound, I mean. So I got to take this off. It's just giving me a headache looking at this freaking girl. I'm trying to see. I'm going to save that for last. I have to get a little bit more of an uplifting story out of this whole shenanigans. This was really touching. It was a Daily Mail article, and it says Asian guy. It says, meet the armless teacher who straps chalk to his limb in order to teach poverty-stricken children in a teeny Chinese village. And now that is a very touching story, and they show pictures of the man. He literally has barely anything that remotely looks like an arm. He's because he's got basically a stump for an arm, and he uses that to teach, basically, again, poverty-stricken children. So, I mean, that's really good. This man should be an influence to a lot of people, that he is definitely a very good teacher. And I'm sure he'd be the last person you would probably see trying to say, oh, I think we should strike because, my rights aren't being equally treated. I'm not being treated equally fair. Now, I know that's not a very good analogy, because I'm trying to compare that to what is going on in Eagleville. But my point is, again, when you do certain careers, you don't do it for the money. You definitely do not do it for the money. You do it for other reasons. You do it for the love of doing the job. That's why I mention that. So that's why I found this story to be very, very, very touching. By the way, if you want to see some decent hot pictures, this Kylie Jenner, she's in these spandex. You know me, I love spandex, lycra pants, and they do show. She's got like a sports bra, and she basically dresses like the one girl at work I complain about all the time. But it's me with the problem, not anybody else. But she's got a sports bra on. She's definitely got spandex on, the same that the girls wear at work. But they definitely show ass shots, too, in the spandex. And she's not hiding it. So you know what that means? Probably after about 30 seconds, I'm going to even forget what she even remotely looks like. This Caitlyn, or Kaylee Jenner. Just to give you a fine hint on that fact. And I do want to go back. But yeah, she looks really hot, though. It's Kaylee Jenner. I don't like that whole Jenner family thing anyway. But I give credit where credit's due. And actually, there is no credit to give there, is there? But yeah, if you're interested, folks, that was in the Daily Mail also. And it's Kaylee Jenner grabs dinner in a... Oh, God, I got it right. In a sporty bra top and leggings after describing her $3,500 beauty regime. But yeah, she's walking around in spandex. Again, and it's no joke, it's exactly what these particular females at work wear. Now, Kaylee Jenner is a celebrity of some sort. The women at work are not celebrities of any sort. So there's a big difference. And they're not. Kaylee Jenner is not making drugs that go in that people consume either. So there's a big difference there also. Anyway, going back to the story on the Daily Mail, it says, meet the armless teacher who straps chalk to his limb in order to teach poverty-stricken children in a teeny Chinese village. I'll be honest with you, I can't pronounce his name. I know Matt finds it funny. I don't even think he could pronounce the name because it is pretty difficult. 41, this man, 41 years old, lost both arms to electrical shock in 1996. He has taught in a remote school in southern China for 12 years. This devoted man walks 5 miles a day for work, miles a day for work, and uses his mouth to flip books. He has been awarded numerous teaching prizes for his dedication. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. There is certain jobs, it's not about the money. It's not about people complaining about how they're being mistreated. It's about the people that you are basically working with. If you're working with children, if you're working with people in the mental health field, if your needs come before the person's needs that you're working with, I don't know how else to say it. You don't belong in that field. That's the bottom line. You do not belong in that fucking field. And leave room for somebody else. And these nurses really piss me off from this. Right up the road from where I live in Eagleville, at this mental state ward for people that are in there to get better. Well, they're not going to get better when you got a bunch of crybabies. Anyway, going back to this story again, I apologize. I just went off again. An armless man who has won respect from Chinese web users for bringing knowledge and hope to the remote mountainous villages despite his disability. This man, 41, has been the substitute teacher at Anil Primary School in Shanghai Village, Yuan Province for dozens of years. In the place where young people refuse to work and live, the strong-willed man straps chalk to his limb and uses his mouth to flip books in order to teach classes of around 40 pupils, students, reported People's Daily Online. So, and it looks like his students, because they got pictures of him teaching his students like really respect this man. And I would respect him too, because again, he puts his students in front of his disability. He lost both of his arms. So, and he lives a normal life despite that fact. So, I mean, this man, I have more respect for him than I actually even do myself. So most of this is just repeating what it actually said in the title, the part they put in the beginning of the story. They give you like highlights. So all I'll be doing is reading the same thing over again. But the village that this man teaches in, they said it's a very poor area, basically. And no teachers are willing to move here because I guess it's such a poor area. And it actually does not look that bad. Like when I'm saying it's a poor area, the thing would come into my mind would right away. I'll be thinking of like the poverty-stricken areas we have in around me in Norristown. But no, these actually look a lot better than that. They almost look like Amish country. But you got children that are willing to learn. They're not like misfits. And you got a teacher who's willing to teach them, which you don't have any of that around here. I'm sorry, you really don't. So it's nice to see the change there. So again, if you want to read the story properly and not have me mess it up for you, just check the dailymail.com and look for the story that says, meet the armless teacher who straps chalk to his limb in order to teach poverty-stricken children in a teeny Chinese village. And you can read that for yourself. Okay, I want to leave this for my last story because I didn't realize how late it was. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Radio Times, Stephen Moffat, I prefer watching classic Doctor Who in my spare time. Well, man, this dude is like the director, with basically the last 2 Doctor Whos. And he says he actually rather watch the old episodes. Well, if that's true, why are you making these shitty ones then, so to speak? With Matt Smith, like he was responsible for getting Matt Smith and the new guy, Peter Capaldi, and he's saying like he likes the older episodes. Well, you know what? You should be incorporated into the new show then. Am I correct or not? Forget about Tennant, Smith, and Capaldi. The writer would rather relax with McCoy, Baker, and etc. He might be at the head of the revived series, but Doctor Who's Stephen Moffat has revealed that when it comes down to what he prefers to watch, it's the older episodes from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, at least when it comes to relaxation. You know what? I just got to scratch my head on that now. So, and it just goes on that he likes the older episodes. Moffat said he likes Ark in Space. That's the Tom Baker one. But, okay, and then he says, I've got a sneaking affection for the Day of the Dialects, which was actually, I think, a Pertwee one. But, okay, you like all this stuff, but then you make episodes that are either okay or probably just plain pile of shit. But yet you like the original episodes. Well, you know what? I hate to say it. If I'm the director of a show and there's something that influences me and it's, on a show like Doctor Who, am I going to make shows that have nothing to do with the original series? Or am I going to make shows that actually kind of, basically give some type of, the shows that I appreciate what I used to, or, shows. I wanted to use the word homage, but I don't think that's the word, so I got to look that up because my friend Matt will correct me. So let me look this up. But, the point is, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that wouldn't be the word I want to use. Yeah, because if I would use the word homage, it's gluttonous act of eating too much ham or ham produced in one sitting. So yeah, homage is not the word that Walter wanted to use, but you know what I mean. I hope that if I love the old Doctor Who series. I can watch those a million times. The new ones I can't really watch more than once or twice. I'll collect them because they are Doctor Who's, but they're not the same. Trust me. But I just don't understand. This man who is a director loves the old series, makes crap now, and only really rather watch it. I mean, like, at least my stuff that I do, like what I'm doing tonight, I will go back and I will listen to myself again. Mainly just to make sure that, okay, see how much I really screwed up the show for today. But also because I can listen to myself and not have it bother me. And give myself even somewhat some constructive criticism back to myself. But the point is, if what I'm making is not what I find to be good, then I would not be letting other people look or even listen to it. So why is this guy making garbage, almost, so to speak, and almost in an indirect way, he's admitting to it? It makes no sense. So anyway, I just want to cut this off. But once again, I just went down, watched some old movies I never even knew existed. And there was some I actually bookmarked on my Facebook page, like this one called The Green Slime. It sounds kind of goofy, but it looked kind of cool. It's an old, I think that was a 1968 movie. Some of those old movies and stuff, and that's in Keller, by the way. Some of these old movies are pretty cool, sometimes, just to look at them. So, anyway, I think I've talked the ear off of people just enough tonight. So, everyone, have a good Saturday. I'll probably be off, and I was going to try to do an interview with this friend Dave, even Matt. They're both musicians of some sort. One's actually Matt's a music teacher, more so. But he was a musician, and I wanted to interview him too. But unfortunately, it may not happen this weekend. I don't know yet. So everyone, and I apologize, maybe I can get these guys to do their own plugs too, because I could just do an infomercial kind of thing, so to speak, with those guys. As well as, interviewing them. So everyone, you know what? Have a good weekend. If you don't hear back from me, most likely I will do another show over the weekend. So have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. Mine's going to be short. My next week is going to be short because of that Doctor Who thing. Alrighty, folks. This is iWalter. That is me, and I am signing off.